This is your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, February 19th, 2014, brought to you by the National Cannabis Coalition. I'm Russ Belville. Marijuana legalization for California in 2014 is likely dead. The Control, Regulate, and Tax Marijuana Act, backed by the big money of the Drug Policy Alliance, said they will stop gathering signatures for the initiative. Quote, "We decided it was more important to do it right than to do it fast," end quote, said Stephen Gutwillig, the Drug Policy Alliance's deputy executive director. Gutwillig also said, quote, "If we had a couple more months, we would have been able to do it," end quote, as DPA had raised enough money for signatures, but not the campaign. The Marijuana Control, Legalization, and Revenue Act is still gathering signatures, but accuses DPA's initiative of, quote, "sucking all the air out of the room," end quote, and stalling their fundraising. The campaign says it has raised $10,000 in a state where initiatives are estimated to cost $8 to $10 million to pass. The California Cannabis Hemp Initiative, pioneered by Jack Herer, also lacks any serious funding. Any initiative seeking ballot access to legalize marijuana in California would need over 500,000 valid signatures by the end of April. Colorado is reaping more marijuana tax revenue than they initially expected. In the governor's first budget proposal following commercial marijuana legalization, the state will spend $99 million raised from the 10% sales tax on pot, well above the $70 million voters were promised in marijuana tax revenue. Based on this figure, officials estimate sales of marijuana will approach $1 billion in the next fiscal year. Governor Hickenlooper proposes $45 million for youth marijuana prevention efforts, $40 million for substance abuse treatment, including $7 million for 105 new treatment beds, and $12 million in public health spending that includes almost $2 million for a Drive High, Get a DUI campaign. This is in addition to the $40 million raised by the 15% excise tax that is already earmarked by law for school construction. A lawmaker in Michigan is proposing a bill that would allow landlords to ban marijuana cultivation and smoking in their properties. The lawmaker, Rick Jones, a Republican from Grand Ledge, said, quote, "If you're going to smoke and bother people, you need to own your own home. If you're growing a mini farm, you need your own home," end quote. The Senate Judiciary Committee listened to overwhelming opposition to the bill from medical marijuana patients who explained that owning a home isn't feasible for many disabled people on fixed incomes. Landlords testified that marijuana smell in apartments is, quote, "going out into the hallways," end quote, and tenants, quote, "could still smell it in the ground floor," end quote. The bill only focuses on growing and smoking. Use of cannabis edibles, tinctures, topicals, and presumably vaporization would still be allowed. Jones's bill also bans the smoking of medical marijuana in, quote, "any portion of private property that is open to the public," end quote, which would criminalize any kind of patient lounge or cafe. A lawmaker in Kentucky has introduced a bill legalizing the study of cannabidiol at state universities. Senator Julie Denton explained that, quote, "there is anecdotal and some research evidence that CBD oil is very effective for children who have severe seizure disorders," end quote. Senator Denton also told reporters that she believes her bill focusing only on high CBD, low THC oil from marijuana will have a better chance of making it through the Kentucky legislature than a traditional medical marijuana bill that legalizes medical use of the whole plant and all its varieties. Senator Denton joins Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, Georgia Representative Alan Peake, and Utah Representative Gage Freur in promoting only the form of medical marijuana that contains minimal THC. United Patients Group and other medical marijuana supporters, including Vanessa Waltz, writing for Ladybud magazine, are warning that, quote, "by endorsing high CBD cannabis, new legislation will do more harm than good," end quote. Archaeologists in Turkey have uncovered the oldest known hemp fabric, dating at over 9,000 years old. The cloth was wrapped around the skeleton of a baby found buried in the ruins of a Neolithic city that once numbered 10,000 in population. Quote, "the fire warmed up the ground and platforms of the building and created a kiln drying effect. Therefore, the pieces and this piece of cloth underground have been so far protected. Examinations in the laboratory show that this piece of cloth is linen weaved with hemp," end quote, said Professor Ian Hodder, head of the excavations. Prior to this discovery, the oldest hemp cloth was found in China, dating 7,000 years old. For comparison's sake, this 9,000-year-old hemp cloth is twice as old as the oldest Egyptian pyramid. This has been your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, February 19th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available exclusively at the National Cannabis Coalition. Visit ncc420.com to download today. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines and take a look at those CBD-only bills in Kentucky, Florida, Georgia, and Utah, and the growing reaction against them from members of the medical marijuana community. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.